Olivia, a name that once fell from my husband Ethan's lips with a tenderness that enveloped my heart each morning, his voice gentle as the dawn, assuring me that I was his whole universe. On tranquil evenings, he would whisper it softly into my ear, his breath a gentle warmth, enveloping me in a cocoon of safety where nothing could reach us. Yet this evening, my name cut through the shadows, dismantling that facade, not with affection, but with a chilling, strange poison that rendered me breathless. In the stillness of the night, I stirred from slumber, the space beside me vacant and chilled. Ethan had vanished. My initial thought was pure. Perhaps he was in the bathroom or downstairs, fetching a glass of water. I turned over, eager to drift back into slumber, when a subtle sound broke the quiet, a soft, intentional whisper, cutting through the tranquility of our abode. My heart raced as I sat upright, every nerve tingling with anticipation that it was Ethan's voice, measured and deliberate, echoing from a distance down the hall. Then, words that sent a chill through my veins. She remains blissfully unaware of any underlying truths. My breath hitched, as though an unseen force had gripped my chest, tightening its hold and forcing the air from my lungs. The persistent discomfort I had tried to suppress, the manner in which Ethan would quickly secure his phone upon my arrival, the ambiguous justifications regarding late hours at the office. It rushed forth, an overwhelming tide of uncertainty and trepidation engulfing me. My hands shook as I rose from the bed, my bare feet touching the frigid wooden floor, each step intensifying the unease gathering in my gut. I traced the murmurs to the threshold of his home office, where a narrow beam of light seeped through the opening. Pressing myself against the wall, I held my breath, straining to catch more sounds, my pulse a thunderous beat echoing in my ears. "Yeah, I've already transferred it," Ethan said, his voice low and measured, reminiscent of a predator on the hunt. "Everything is unfolding as intended." Nearly there. My throat constricted to the point where swallowing became a near impossibility. "What was transferred? What is it that you are almost finished with?" My heart thudded in my chest with such intensity that I worried he might catch the sound. Then came the footsteps. Panic surged within me as I rushed back to bed, yanking the covers over myself just as the bedroom door let out a haunting creak. Ethan glided in, his movements fluid and untroubled, as if he had not just been scheming in the darkness. I closed my eyes, striving to maintain a steady breath, feigning slumber, even as my thoughts clamored with uncertainty. The mattress sagged under his weight as he settled next to me, his rhythmic breathing a bitter taunt amidst the turmoil raging within. He concealed a secret, a dark one, and it was intricately linked to my existence. The following morning, as Ethan lay in slumber, I stealthily made my way to the kitchen, my phone quivering in my grasp. I had always overlooked the intricacies of our financial situation. Ethan took charge of the bills, investments, and savings, and I placed my complete trust in him. Yet today, that trust seemed to constrict like a noose. I launched the banking app, my gaze sweeping over the transactions, each figure piercing my heart like a dagger. Withdrawals made over the past 3 months include amounts of $500, $1,000, $200, $750, and $2,000. Not colossal amounts, yet sufficient to shout that something was profoundly amiss. I clutched the kitchen counter, my knuckles pale, struggling to quell the panic that was gnawing at my chest. These were not intended for bills or investments. The money had simply disappeared, slipping away into an incomprehensible abyss. Is it really necessary to check the bank account at this hour? Ethan's voice cut through the haze of my thoughts. I glanced over to find him propped against the doorway, his hand massaging his neck, a drowsy smile playing on his lips, yet failing to illuminate his eyes. Yet, as his eyes darted to my phone, a brief shadow of tension flitted across his features, momentary but unmistakable. "Merely conducting a casual inquiry," I remarked, striving to maintain a calm tone even as turmoil swirled within me. "I have noticed several withdrawals that seem unfamiliar to me." He strolled over, pouring himself a cup of coffee with a nonchalant demeanor that seemed almost practiced. Those? Merely a few minor investments I neglected to bring up." He lifted the glass to his lips, his gaze skirting around mine. The smile he wore a fragile mask concealing a deeper shadow. I scrutinized his features, hoping to find a fissure in his facade. Yet Ethan was an expert in the art of illusion. His allure blade, I had once succumbed to. I nodded, feigning acceptance of his deception, yet a fresh emotion began to awaken within me. A sense of foreboding settled within me, a stark awareness that he was deceiving me in ways I had yet to comprehend. That evening, I observed him with keen intensity that he texted incessantly, perpetually positioning his phone face down, as though he were safeguarding a hidden truth. He would venture outdoors to answer calls, his voice low and tinged with a sense of urgency he wished to keep from my ears. At that moment, opportunity knocked. Ethan rose to his feet, declaring his intention to take a shower, and embarked on an action he had never attempted before. His phone lay abandoned on the table, vulnerable and unprotected. My heart pounded in my chest, yet I willed myself to remain composed. Counting the seconds until I was certain he had departed, I grasped the phone. A shiver coursed through my fingers, the screen illuminating with a fresh message. Dispatch her, Iliomaro. What is your message? Ensure she remains unaware. Nearly there. My grip tightened, and for a fleeting moment, my pulse seemed to halt. Who was Iliomaro? What had almost done signify? A chilling sense of foreboding enveloped me, seeping into my very marrow as I placed the phone aside, the murmur of the shower fading into the background. Ethan was not merely concealing a secret. He was orchestrating a scheme against me, and his design was on the verge of fruition. I placed the phone back where it belonged, my hands trembling as though I had come into contact with something toxic. The words seared into my consciousness, a reminder to ensure she remains shrouded in shadows. The man I had pledged my eternal love to was weaving a betrayal that loomed over my existence, threatening to dismantle everything I held dear. I took a moment to steady my breath, the sound of water cascading in the bathroom lingering in the air. Time was slipping away, mere minutes to safeguard my own fate before he came back, before his scheme could ensnare me completely. The following morning, Ethan behaved as though the ground hadn't trembled beneath me. He placed a cup of coffee before me, his smile radiating warmth yet lacking substance, a facade I had come to recognize. "How's work going?" he inquired, his feigned concern oozing with insincerity, each syllable a stark reminder of his treachery. That I managed a fragile smile, my heart burdened by the knowledge I carried. "Fine," I murmured, my voice scarcely rising above a whisper, every part of me urging to challenge him, yet I restrained myself, aware that strategy was essential. "Olivia," he said, setting his phone down with its screen hidden, "I believe it's time we reassess our finances, just to be safe. You never know what surprises life may have in store for us." My gaze sharpened, yet I maintained a steady tone, concealing the tempest brewing within me. "Could you clarify what you mean?" "We should consolidate our assets," he said smoothly, each word a deliberate choice, akin to a strategic maneuver in a game I hadn't known we were engaged in. "Should anything occur, it will be simpler to handle. That I will take care of the paperwork. Your only task is to provide your signature." My fingers clenched around the coffee cup, its warmth failing to melt the chill coursing through my veins. I had been anticipating this moment, feeling his scheme unraveling like a carefully laid snare that he believed he could sway me, presenting it as an effortless move. Yet I was far from gullible. I smiled, nodding slowly, as thoughts raced through my mind. "That seems fair. Could you please share the documents with me first?" A glimmer of astonishment flashed in his eyes. He had not anticipated my swift agreement. Yet, he regained his composure swiftly, nodding with an air of practiced nonchalance. "Certainly. I will prepare them shortly." I did not linger for the arrival of soon. Once Ethan departed for work, I dialed Megan, my lawyer and dearest friend from college, my voice quaking with a sense of urgency. I couldn't allow him to outsmart me. I had to safeguard myself before he executed his next strategy. As I laid bare my soul, the murmurs of the night, the enigmatic absences, the haunting message from Iliomaro echoed in my mind. Megan remained quiet, her serene presence grounding me. Upon completion, her voice held a steady yet urgent quality. "Olivia, it is imperative that you relocate your assets without delay." The thoughts had consumed me throughout the night. As I lay awake next to Ethan, his very presence feeling like a betrayal. When Megan spoke those words, my determination was cemented, transforming my fear into decisive action. That we shall establish a trust, she continued. Consolidate all assets of worth into your name beneath it. Ethan will find himself unable to grasp even a single cent. Do it, I commanded, my voice steady even as fear clawed at my heart. The burden of losing all that I had strived for bore heavily upon me. In under 3 days, we brought everything to a close. The apartment, the savings accounts, the investment shares. Each one was safeguarded, securely locked away from Ethan's grasp. Regardless of his efforts, he was unable to extract anything from me. Days later, he returned home early, positioning himself across from me with an air of significance, his eyes shimmering with a confidence that sent a ripple of unease through my stomach. The moment had finally come. "Olivia," he began, placing a stack of documents on the table, his voice steady and deliberate. "It is imperative that we engage in a candid discussion." That I gazed at the papers, my heart calm even amidst the tempest of feelings swirling inside me. I stood poised, anticipation coursing through me. What could it be? "I want a divorce," he said, his voice steady and measured, as though he had rehearsed the phrase countless times before. "That I believe this is the most prudent course of action. We have drifted away from each other. I wish to avoid any escalation of tension." That I lifted an eyebrow, masking my surprise, yet my heart throbbed with the weight of finality. He paused for just a moment, a fleeting glimpse of uncertainty breaking through his carefully constructed exterior, before continuing onward. "Indeed, this approach proves to be more advantageous." That I remained quiet, allowing the moment to linger, giving him the chance to sense the gravity of his own words. With a deliberate motion, I slid the papers back in his direction. "Before we delve into this matter, there's an important detail you ought to be aware of." That he frowned, his confidence faltering. What could it be? I locked eyes with him, my voice steady and intentional, every word a sharp blade. "All my assets have been moved already." The atmosphere grew dense with anticipation, weighty like an impending tempest. Ethan stood still, his eyes growing wide, his jaw clenching as the truth dawned on him. "What is this? You can no longer take anything from me, can you?" I pressed on, my voice steady, even as my heart raced with a blend of trepidation and victory. "All aspects are safeguarded by law. The apartment, the savings, the investments, they stand firm and unwavering." Ethan remained quiet, his expression contorted with a simmering fury, his hands balling into tight fists. The unexpectedness of it all left him reeling, and the astonishment reflected in his gaze was a subtle triumph. I stood there, my calm smile contrasting with the turmoil within, as I met his astonished gaze, trembling under the burden of my actions. "You were correct about one aspect. Ethan. It is impossible to foresee what the future holds." He remained silent, yet I could sense the whirlwind of thoughts within him, each one a calculation, each one a desperate attempt to reclaim his grip on the situation. The dynamics had changed irrevocably, and for the first time, I found myself in possession of the cards. Ethan remained silent for a full minute, his grip on the divorce papers so tight that his knuckles turned white. His anger simmered just beneath the surface, a tempest gathering strength in the depths of his gaze. Yet he struggled to keep his poise, as though he still wielded the advantage. I adjusted my coat, my heart racing with a blend of triumph and residual fear, the burden of his betrayal still pressing heavily upon my chest. "If there are no further matters to discuss, I believe we can conclude our time here." He inhaled deeply, managing a smile that failed to illuminate his eyes, a cornered predator still exuding danger. "We'll see each other in court, Olivia," he said, his voice low and sharp, slicing through the air like a finely honed blade. "Your escape from this won't come without consequence." I met his gaze with a smirk, determined to conceal the flicker of fear ignited by his words. "Proceed and give it a shot." That I stepped out of the living room, a wave of triumph washing over me, yet I was acutely aware that the struggle was far from concluded. 3 days later, a substantial envelope arrived from Ethan's lawyer, containing a formal divorce petition that demanded half of all assets, including my apartment, 50% of our joint accounts, and even a monthly allowance. alleging that I had compelled him to forfeit his career for the sake of our marriage. I chuckled with a hint of bitterness, the boldness of his deceit piercing deeper than I had anticipated. Ethan had never relinquished a single thing. I had borne the financial burden of our life together, investing my heart and soul into our collective aspirations, all the while he plotted in secrecy. He had nothing to lose, yet his desires reached for the stars that I reached out to Megan without delay, my voice quivering with a blend of fury and resolve. "We have a problem," I declared, sifting through the pile of documents. "Every request opens a new scar." She let out a gentle laugh, her pause a thread of connection. "Allow me to surmise, Ethan remains resolute?" "Certainly not." I exhaled, my fingertips gliding along the contours of the papers. "He seeks to claim half of my assets, the apartment, and ongoing support payments." Megan let out a derisive laugh, her tone laced with contempt. "Does he genuinely believe he has a chance?" "No, but he will endeavor to exhaust you with every cunning tactic at his disposal." "Then we fight," I declared, my voice unwavering even as a knot of fear twisted in my stomach, the burden of his betrayal growing heavier with every fleeting second. "It's time we show him he picked the wrong opponent," Megan declared, her voice brimming with intensity, kindling a flicker of hope within me. For days later, Megan and I found ourselves in her law office, meticulously examining the case file, each detail serving as a poignant reminder of the life I had once envisioned with Ethan. "He doesn't stand a chance," she declared, placing the folder down with a resolute thud. "Your assets were transferred prior to his filing. Legally, he possesses no claim, and regarding the support request, he has no basis. Your income has consistently been the main source that I breathed out, a sense of relief intertwining with the lingering unease that had settled in as my ever-present companion. Suddenly, my phone vibrated, its screen illuminating with a message from an unfamiliar number. "Exercise caution, Olivia." Ethan operates outside the boundaries of convention, but a shiver coursed through my body, my heart pounding as I gazed at the words, yet I set the fear aside. I refused to allow it to throw me off course. 3 days later, a subtle change stirred within the workplace. Co-workers cast me peculiar glances, their murmurs following me like lingering shadows. It felt like a figment of my imagination, my nerves frayed from countless sleepless nights, until Erica, my assistant, entered my office, her expression taut with concern. "You must take a look at this," she said, setting a printed sheet down on my desk on an anonymous forum. A tale unfolded of a CFO siphoning company funds to conceal assets from her husband amid the turmoil of a divorce. "Could someone please investigate this matter?" Below, a multitude of comments, one hauntingly precise, reveals the identity I possess. Olivia A.T., my name, exposed to the world, contorted into a falsehood that threatens to unravel all I have strived to achieve. A fierce fire raged within me, searing and unyielding. "Ethan is the one orchestrating this," I declared with a chill in my tone, my voice unwavering even as turmoil raged within me. Erica nodded, her gaze heavy with worry. "Undoubtedly, should this information circulate, it has the potential to tarnish your reputation." I inhaled deeply, striving for tranquility, even as my hands quivered with rage. I refused to allow Ethan to dismantle my career, the singular achievement I had forged through my own determination. "That I must see Megan immediately," I declared, clutching my phone tightly, resolve overpowering the trepidation within me. We refused to allow him to escape the consequences of his actions. That evening, I encountered Megan and unleashed the latest betrayal, my voice trembling with a blend of fury and pain, her brow furrowed and her gaze sharpened. "He is attempting to undermine someone's character. He desires for you to unravel and falter in your judgment." "I won't," I declared, my voice steady, even as my heart throbbed under the burden of Ethan's unyielding assaults. "What's the strategy moving forward?" Megan's eyes sparkled with determination. "Initially, we will dispatch a cease and desist letter. Should he utter another falsehood, we will pursue legal action for defamation and the deliberate harm of your reputation." A flicker of hope surged within me, a flame kindling that consumed the shadows of fear. Ethan believed he could shatter my resolve with deceit, yet he was mistaken. I nodded, my jaw clenched tight. Let us embark on this journey. 3 days later, in Megan's office, she pushed a document across the table, her demeanor serious. Ethan has just initiated legal proceedings against you, alleging financial fraud. I stood still, my heart sinking like a stone. What is it? He asserts that you misappropriated funds from your shared accounts prior to reallocating your assets, Megan remarked, her voice steady yet taut. He is not solitary in this endeavor. A co-plaintiff exists. I opened the file, and my gaze fell upon a name that sent a chill coursing through me. Iliomaro. Ethan had a collaborator, a shadowy figure aiding him in his quest to dismantle me. Who is this Ilya? I inquired, my voice parched, scarcely concealing the terror that gripped me. Megan folded her arms, her demeanor somber. He has a reputation for fabricating financial documents and has been linked to various lawsuits, yet no one has managed to secure concrete evidence against him. As I perused Ethan's court filings, a surge of anger welled up within me with every turn of the page. These transactions do not belong to me, I erupted, my voice quaking with rage, the treachery piercing deeper than it ever had before. Megan nodded, her serene presence anchoring me. Our suspicions lingered. However, if we fail to act swiftly, the situation may escalate significantly. I tightened my grip, feeling my nails press into the flesh of my palms. Is it possible to demonstrate their falseness? Megan's smile cut through the shadows, a beacon of hope amidst the gloom that we can not only demonstrate its validity, but we will also leverage it to our benefit. She entrusted the case to a forensic financial expert, and I found myself enveloped in a whirlwind of anxiety and resolve over the following week, obsessively checking my phone and flinching at every notification. A week later, Megan summoned me to her office, her eyes sparkling with an unusual glimmer of enthusiasm. I think you'll appreciate this, she remarked, setting a file down before me. A misstep was made. The transactions that Ethan asserts you executed, they bear timestamps from a time long before your account came into being. I blinked, my heart pounding, a glimmer of hope piercing the haze. What is this? Megan's finger glided over the page, following the lines of a list of bank statements. This account was established in July, yet the documents reveal transactions dating back to May. They exuded an air of overconfidence and neglected to verify their assumptions. A smile unfurled upon my lips, gradual and victorious, as the burden of fear started to dissipate. They have utterly unraveled, I murmured, my voice heavy with relief. Megan nodded, her eyes alight with fierce resolve. This matter is not being taken lightly. We are taking legal action against them for defamation and will be presenting evidence that has been tampered with. 3 days later, Megan filed the countersuit, her words resonating with a sense of justice. The defendant, Ethan Reynolds, in collusion with his accomplice Iliomaro, deliberately presented fabricated evidence with the intent to tarnish the reputation and inflict financial damage upon the plaintiff, Olivia Thompson. We insisted on recompense for the harm they had inflicted, every falsehood a stone in the edifice of their downfall. Ethan was not merely destined for defeat. He would atone for every betrayal, every instance that had sown seeds of doubt within me. That evening, I settled into my sofa, relishing a rare moment of tranquility with a cup of coffee, its warmth anchoring me in the stillness. A buzz from my phone interrupted the silence, the caller ID revealing an unfamiliar number. That I responded, and a low, menacing growl echoed back. You believe you possess a certain cleverness, don't you? A sly smile crept across my face, my heart unwavering in the face of his malice. Greetings, Ethan. Have you received the notice from your attorney? I swear. Olivia, you're going to regret this, he seethed, his voice thick with desperation. You have no inkling of the storm you're stirring. I reclined, unafraid, as the power I had battled for surged inside me and oh, Ethan, it is you who underestimates the gravity of this encounter. The call ended abruptly, and I placed the phone aside, a smile still dancing on my lips. In his desperation, he clutched at fleeting hopes, while I stood poised, prepared for whatever challenge he might present next. The courtroom buzzed with an electric tension, the atmosphere laden with anticipation. I perched on the edge of my seat, my gaze fixed intently on Ethan from across the room. He donned a meticulously tailored suit, yet his hands clutched the table, knuckles pale and tense, revealing the anxiety he struggled to conceal. The judge perused the papers, his voice unwavering, slicing through the stillness. The evidence suggests that the transactions Mr. Reynolds attributed to Ms. Thompson were, in fact, unattainable. A soft murmur swept across the room, and I turned my gaze to Ethan, noticing the subtle twitch in his eye and the tightness of his jaw. He was aware of the impending fate, and the trepidation in his stance spoke volumes of a subtle triumph. The judge pressed on. A forensic expert has verified that these transactions occurred prior to the establishment of the plaintiff's account. This suggests that the documents submitted by Mr. Reynolds and his associate were contrived. Megan's soft laughter danced in the air beside me, igniting a wave of satisfaction within, a flame that had long been smoldering now bursting forth with fervor. The judge struck his gavel, his voice firm and unwavering that in light of the defendant's fabricated evidence, the court has dismissed all claims put forth by Mr. Reynolds and has mandated that he bear the legal expenses of the plaintiff. A smile tugged at my lips as I watched Ethan's shoulders sag, his meticulously crafted facade beginning to fall apart. His attorney rose, voice quaking, yet the judge hushed him with a mere lift of his hand. Moreover, in light of the intentional provision of misleading information, I am initiating an inquiry into the documents presented by Mr. Reynolds and his associate. Ethan stood still, the gravity of his error enveloping him like a heavy shroud. This had transcended the realm of a mere divorce case. He confronted genuine legal repercussions, the sort that could dismantle his existence. The gavel struck down with a decisive finality. The court proceedings have been suspended. Megan beamed with a triumphant smile, her eyes glinting with success. A flawless knockout, she murmured. Ethan hesitated, his footsteps weighted as he exited. The assurance he had once donned like a shield now vanished. I eased my stride, allowing him to sense my presence, my silent victory glowing more intensely with every step. He turned to meet my gaze, his eyes brimming with a tumultuous blend of anger and defeat. I inclined my head, a gradual smile unfurling upon my lips. "Have we reached the end of our discussion, Ethan?" He remained silent, his quietude resonating more profoundly than any spoken phrase. Silence enveloped the moment, leaving no words to be uttered. Outside the courthouse, I inhaled deeply, the crisp air purging the tension from my being, sweeping away the lingering months of fear and betrayal that I had triumphed, not merely in a legal skirmish, but in a grand conflict against the adversary who sought to shatter me, to dismantle all that I had painstakingly constructed. A week later, Ethan's lawyer made a desperate attempt to negotiate, seeking to evade the looming criminal investigation. We refused. He had brought this upon himself. I was resolute in ensuring he faced the repercussions of his choices. In the span of a fortnight, murmurs began to circulate with an intensity that was almost palpable. Ethan's colleagues whispered about his ill-fated scheme, a desperate attempt to twist the law for his own benefit. His company cast him aside, his standing in the finance realm fractured like delicate crystal. He parted with his cherished sports car to settle legal expenses, and his opulent apartment was listed for sale, a poignant reminder of the life he once knew. All that he sought to seize from me ultimately slipped through his fingers, leaving him with nothing but his own loss. Each became a testament to his own hubris. As I settled into my apartment one evening, a glass of wine in hand, the twinkling lights of the city unfolded before my eyes. A message from Megan illuminated my phone screen. "Well done, Olivia. He has utterly disintegrated." A smile crept across my face as I placed the phone down. Feeling the burdens of the past months begin to dissolve from my shoulders, the sense of buoyancy enveloped me, a feeling I hadn't experienced in years. The marks of treachery remain, yet they no longer dictate my identity. The stillness of my apartment served as a refuge, a realm untouched by Ethan's cunning messages and his midnight calls tinged with menace. After months of suffocating anxiety, I finally found the freedom to breathe, unburdened by the weight of fear and the relentless worry of his next move. The path to victory had been fraught with challenges. It had required every bit of my strength, every fragment of courage, yet it belonged to me completely. Ethan had lost everything, while I retained what was justly mine, rising to a strength I had never known before. That evening, Megan urged us to commemorate the occasion, her tone shimmering with pride. In an upscale dining establishment, my dearest friends convened, their laughter resonating like a delightful explosion within my spirit. Upon my entrance, a wave of applause erupted, heartfelt and sincere, a poignant reminder of those who had remained steadfast by my side during the shadows. Megan lifted her glass, her eyes sparkling with delight. To Olivia, who showed us the power of a clever woman with a vision, I chuckled, gently tapping my glass against hers, the wine bursting with the flavor of victory, its velvety texture a stark contrast to the harshness of what once was. Monica inclined her head, her gaze suffused with understanding. What is it like to realize he has been stripped of everything? I placed my glass gently on the table, a subtle smile emerging as I sought the right words. With a sense of relief, I spoke, my voice unwavering yet laden with feeling. Yet beyond that, it resonates with a sense of liberation, as if I have reclaimed every fragment of my being that he sought to take away. Monica nodded, her understanding anchoring me, a testament to the power I had discovered within the bonds of community. What lies ahead? She inquired, her tone gentle yet inquisitive. I inhaled deeply, the rhythm of the city resonating beyond the window, vibrant with potential. Embracing life, I declared, a smile emerging, vowing never to allow anyone that kind of influence over me again. Glasses lifted in unison, the sound of cheers reverberating throughout the space, a tribute not only to my triumph, but to the unwavering spirit that had seen me through. Once the festivities had concluded, I strolled solitary down the avenue, the sound of my heels gently echoing against the stone pavement. Chicago shimmered beneath the night sky, its golden lights dancing on the streets, conjuring a dreamy radiance that seemed to whisper of promises yet to come. That a refreshing October breeze caressed my skin, sharp and revitalizing, prompting me to draw my coat closer, not out of chill, but to relish each fleeting second of this liberation, this instance of being entirely myself. The phone vibrated in my pocket, an unfamiliar number illuminating the screen. This is far from finished. A sly smile crept across my face as I perceived Ethan's futile attempt to regain control. With unwavering resolve, I pressed the number and selected block, the act undeniably liberating. He wielded no influence over me now, no grip on the existence I had taken back. On my balcony, I beheld the city's shimmering skyline, the lights unfurling infinitely in front of me. The air was imbued with a newfound clarity, a buoyancy that suggested I had finally released a weight I had borne for an eternity. The tale of Ethan and me had reached its conclusion, the last page inscribed with my triumph. I had triumphed, not merely in the realms of law or finance, but in the profound act of reclaiming my essence, discovering the fortitude to transcend the shadows of betrayal. Certain lessons arrive with a staggering price, imparted through the most unforgiving means. There was a time when I thought Ethan was my true companion, the person with whom I could construct a future, confide every aspiration and hidden truth. I overlooked the warning signs, the quiet changes in his demeanor, believing that love and trust could triumph over everything. That I acknowledge my mistake. Even those we hold dear can wound us in ways that pierce deeper than we ever thought possible. Their actions pierce like a blade to the heart. Yet true strength lies not in evading betrayal. Regardless of the care you take, the love you offer, or the generosity you extend, there will always be those who seek to manipulate your trust for their own benefit. What truly counts is your actions that follow. Do you allow it to consume you, collapsing beneath the burden of their deceit? Do you emerge more resilient, enlightened, and accommodating? I made the decision to ascend, to battle for my own sake with a fierce intensity one had yet to discover within me. My struggle with Ethan transcended mere legal triumphs. It was an intense lesson in safeguarding my emotional and financial well-being. There was a time when I believed that love encompassed the act of sharing all that one possesses. The aspirations of finance lay bare its vulnerabilities, unconfined and devoid of protection. Yet, Experience has shown me that trust demands careful groundwork, particularly in matters entwined with wealth and influence. Ethan believed I would be a simple mark, just a piece in his intricate game of manipulation. He devised intricate plans, plotted with precision, and held a firm belief that I would falter when faced with pressure. He was mistaken. With a steady demeanor, I devised a strategy and countered at the opportune instant, using his own arrogance to my advantage. His urgency, his hubris, laid bare the fissures in his deceptions. With those fissures, I orchestrated his downfall, seizing back what rightfully belonged to me. As I sip my wine, the delicate bitterness dances on my tongue, a poignant reminder of the trials that have shaped my resilience. The past lingered in the shadows, its teachings etched deep within my being. Before me stretched a destiny I claimed, a realm where I would no longer allow another to dictate my path. Life does not always adhere to a sense of fairness. At times, those we hold in the highest regard become the very ones who deceive us, their deeds leaving a scar that endures. Yet, Olivia's narrative transcends the confines of a mere divorce lawsuit. It stands as a tribute to endurance, to the strength found in readiness and safeguarding oneself. In every relationship, particularly when financial matters are involved, it is crucial to maintain control over your own life. In the face of betrayal, maintain your composure, devise a strategy, and wait for the opportune moment to respond. The most profound triumph is not one of vengeance. It's about rediscovering your essence, rising with confidence against those who sought to diminish you. How do you perceive Olivia's odyssey marked by treachery and victory? We invite you to express your reflections in the comments and join us for more uplifting narratives that celebrate strength, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit.